Hi, I'm Martin and I'm one of the assistant instructors at With You With Me, and I'm here to teach you today a couple of things about Linux. You probably already know them, but you didn't know you know them. Alright, so let's get on through this. The program I'm going to be using today for the virtual machines is something called Virtualbox, and as you can see here, you just go to virtualbox.org to download this free program. Click on the blue box, download it, and we'll be installing it to your computer with just the standard settings. Once you've downloaded VirtualBox, just run through the basic installer. All the settings should be pretty much what you need them to do, so you should be able to just click on through with not much of a problem. Once it's complete, you may start the VirtualBox session. So now we have our VirtualBox set up, but a VirtualBox is useless without software. That software we're going to use is in the form of an ISO. In order to run the ISO, we're going to have to download it from a reputable source. In this instance, we're going to be using something called Parrot OS. Parrot OS is a versatile Linux distribution, but in this instance, it looks pretty, so that's why we're going to be using it. Just go to Google, type in Parrot OS, and it should be one of your first answers. Clicking on that, go through to Explore Us, and we're just going to download the ISO. We're going to be using the Security Edition, and what I want you to do is to download this. Keep in mind it is 3.9 gigabytes, so it's going to take a little bit of time. Maybe go away, have a coffee. Probably wouldn't advise downloading it on a mobile data. So by now you've probably downloaded your ISO. Now what we're going to do is we're going to return to VirtualBox, and we're going to use that to install our ISO. If you go up here, you're going to select New. You're going to give it a name. In this case, we're just going to call it Parrot OS. Our type, we're going to be doing a Linux distribution. Now the version we're going to be using is Debian base 64-bit. You could Google that answer, but you're going to have to trust me on this one. Then we're going to go next. We're going to leave it at 1024 megabytes. We're going to click next. We're going to create it as a virtual hard disk now. We're going to leave it as VDI. We're going to go dynamically allocated. Now here we want to do 30 gigabyte. That's because it's just got a bit of size to it. Alright, so there's our machine. And what we've got now, it's basically just the box. So it doesn't have anything in it. If you were thinking about it as a computer, it would literally be just the box. An empty box, hard drive, it's got your CPU, it's got your RAM, but there's nothing on that hard drive. So the next part we've got to do is we've got to put that ISO into the imaginary floppy disk drive or CD drive. So you're going to go here to our optical drive, I'm going to click on it, and we're going to choose a disk file. We're going to go to where we stored our VM. In this case, I've got it on my USB drive. And so now we've physically loaded it, metaphorically speaking, to our optical drive. Now all we need to do is go start to start it up. So what we'll be doing is we're going to be doing something called live mode. This is where nothing is saved in it and it's just in the virtual memory of the machine. If you wanted to have something more permanent, you'd choose something called persistence mode, which is about, well, there's an encrypted persistence and there's persistence mode. So here we have Parrot OS on its initial startup, and as you can see it may require you to set your keyboard layout, and this is because what we've done here is we've done a temporary installation. Now a quick look around, I'll just move my camera out of the way in a second, and it may look a little bit weird and vague to you. But when you break it down, it isn't that hard. In the bottom left hand corner you've got something that looks like, it says menu, that's your menu bar. You click on that and as you can see it's got a menu that's very similar to your Windows menu. Here we've got our Office programs and we've got all of them, they are prefixed with Libre. So that is just the Office suite, similar to Microsoft Office. We've got Parrot here, which is looks like a computer, which is pretty much exactly like your file manager or your My Computer on a Windows. Click on the computer and it looks very similar to your file manager in Windows. Down the left hand side you have your folders, and here you have your different disk drives or virtual drives. When you look at the bar up here, you've got the classic green, red and yellow, very similar to your Mac OS, and if you mouse over them you'll see there's an X, an expansion for your maximize windows and your minimize to toolbar. On the right hand side you've got your clock. Next to your clock you have your network connection. In this instance I've got it connected to my PC, so it's got a fake wired connection. We've got over here our speaker, our Bluetooth. On the left hand side we've got our task manager and our processors, so we can see what's actually happening with the system's resources. Now if we want to use something to view the web, as you can see there's a Firefox icon up here. We could also go through to the menu, simply select the internet and choose Firefox. We're going to maximize this out, and so if we wanted to use our normal internet browser, this is the basic one that is installed with this version of Linux. Nothing different here. And you can search the web for whatever you'd like. I'm going to close it down on the left hand side here instead of the typical Windows right hand side. Going to go to the menu and we're going to just open up just a simple document program. So we're going to go to Office and then we're going to open up our LibreOffice. On the left hand side here you can see there's a whole different things. We can have something that's similar to our Microsoft PowerPoint. Calc spreadsheet is equivalent to Excel. Writer document is equivalent to Word. And we're going to click on the writer document, go through the lovely prompts. And then you can have your document. As you can see, it's very similar to Microsoft Word. I'm going to close this one down, yet again, left hand side, close Windows. Now I'm going to draw a simple picture. Yet again we go back to our menu, click our Office, and then we're going to go back through the LibreOffice. Going to go to Draw Drawing, and look guys, to be honest, I am just not an artist, so you have to excuse me on that one. You get the picture. Basic clip art pictures. Lastly, in Windows you may have to use the terminal every now and again. It's not any different in Linux. Go here through to the menu again. We're going to type in terminal. Now we've got two options here. We've got the mate terminal and the root terminal. In Linux you have two different distinct users. One of them is just your everyday user, and that is in this case called the mate terminal. On other Linux distributions it's just user. The root terminal is a higher powered terminal, or just an elevated user. We call them super users in Linux. The idea of this is they have complete control. Later we will be exploring the use of the terminal and what it can do for us. In this intro I've shown you a little bit around Linux. We've just briefly touched on things, but I do highly encourage you to get on, have a look for yourself. You would be surprised at how many things you already know what they are, where they are, and it is a very intuitive system. Thanks for dropping by. Next time we'll be looking at more fundamentals such as upgrading and updating our Linux system. Till next time.